It's time for my favorite part of the show, and that is Blogger Throwdown. Tonight, we welcome in Ross Fulton, senior analyst for 11warriors.com, representing Ohio State. And we have Drew Balis, sports editor for onwardstate.com from Penn State. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys, it's Ali Najad. I just want to jump in and get things started with the big question mark hanging over Braxton Miller, his health after taking the hit last week. Odds makers seem to think it's going to be a big deal going into this week. What do you guys think? Drew, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of still waiting to hear more news from Urban. From Urban Meyer. It sounded like he said today, he's a little sore. He should practice tomorrow. Obviously, it seems like odds makers are factoring that in. I'm surprised that Penn State, I think, is favored by a point right now. I'm really surprised it's that close. I guess you could factor in the Iowa game, too, and just how badly they beat them. But I expected Ohio State to be favored by close to a touchdown if you would have asked me this question on Friday. So it seems like it's a big deal. I know people here, they want to see Ohio State at full strength. They're hoping Braxton plays, but it does seem like the odds makers really think that's going to be a factor.
Yeah, careful what you wish for about seeing them at full strength. Ross, what do you think?
I mean, everything I'm hearing is that he's physically fine and ready to go. He was, released from the hospital within an hour. It sounds like, he suffered a bad case of whiplash that sort of scared him a little bit. But, according to Urban Meyer and everyone close to the team, he's physically fine. I think the bigger question will be how it affects him mentally.
Ross, you bring up a great point about mental preparation. That's going to fall on the coaches. Now, let me get to both those coaches because both of them are being mentioned for possibly being Coach of the Year. Drew, let's start with you. Why should Bill O'Brien be Coach of the Year?
I just think you look at all the challenges that he's faced, the 9 guys leaving, all the different distractions. O'Brien's done a phenomenal job, not only holding the team together, getting them to believe, but really holding this entire university together. And I just think you look at the talent level on this team. You look at what he's done with Matt McGloin, how his system has really helped McGloin. A year ago now, I don't know that Matt McGloin would start for, there could be 100 college teams that I don't think he'd start for.
Ross, why should Urban win it?
Well, it's hard to argue with O'Brien as of now, although Penn State, frankly, hasn't really – they played probably 3 of the worst Big Ten teams, which is really saying something. The job Urban's done is perfectly exemplified by this game last week against Purdue. Ohio State turned the ball over 3 times. They gave up multiple special teams breakdowns, including a kickoff return, and yet found a way to win. Certainly not probably Urban Meyer's most talented team he's ever coached, but he's having a lot of fun coaching this group for that fact. And so I think for him, it's one of the most satisfying coaching jobs that he's done.
Now, Danny and I were referring to this game as the ineligible bowl because obviously neither of you guys are going to be playing in the postseason this year, with what you've experienced respectively. Which team needs to win this game more? Is it 8-0 Ohio State or 5-2 Penn State? Drew, kick it off.
I think this is a real big game for Penn State. Obviously, you can make the case that it's a big one for both teams, but I think, big thing here is that I don't know if it's been pointed out or not yet with you guys, but there's going to be about 80 to 100 recruits here on Saturday. And I think, typically the schools compete for real similar kids, and I think this is a real showcase game for Penn State, to show, hey, Urban's, got his program going a little, but you know what, we're right there, we might even be better.
Ross, I take it you disagree.
You know what? I actually do agree. Ohio State, with just a 1-year bowl ban, it actually works out nicely. With this being Urban Meyer's first year, it's a building year. I think that it'd be hard to argue already that this season has been a success. As they mentioned, Urban Meyer's been going into Pennsylvania currently and cherry picking the recruits he wants. With the 4-year bowl ban, Penn State has a lot more selling to do as to why kids should come in, why the fan base should stick with them than the Ohio State, who can very soon see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Danny, we found the 2 most chivalrous guys on each of these campuses.
You guys are being way too polite. It's time to break out the big guns. All right, tell me, Ross, we'll let you start off. I want to hear prediction for the game, this final score prediction, and why you think it'll be so.
I think Ohio State will win by 2 touchdowns. I think that, I'm frankly amazed. I understand why I guess people would with Braxton potentially being out, the betting lines have moved to Penn State, but 3 points is, still pretty shocking to me. Penn State, if you look at their wins, as I said in the Big Ten, they're beating up on the worst of the worst.
I guess he's not that chivalrous. He's taking his team. All right.
All right, Drew, what do you got?
I think it's hard to argue against the Ohio State pick, but at the same time, I don't think Ross has given Penn State quite enough credit here. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a one possession game. I think it's going to be very close. You look at this Ohio State defense in Big Ten games; they're giving up 31 points a game.
I heard you say it's going to be a one possession game, Drew. Who's going to win it? Oh.
As of right now, I think I'm going to be being honest, trying to be objective. I think Ohio State wins a close game, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I know Urban said today about trying to quiet the crowd with a no huddle. I guess a lot of students on campus kind of had a real fun time, kind of laughing about that.
Well, don't hate us because we're going to have to quiet you a little bit right now, Drew. We're running out of time right now. But that is, I believe, the first blogger that's picked the opposing team.
I think so too.
I love it. Can't argue with that.
All right, Drew Balis and Ross Fulton, thanks for coming on with us tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.